English studying ASMR. I'm taking this video to study both English and knowledge about solar cells. So this is the paper, or research paper we studied, and this one, the second one that we are going to start today. They are both about solar cells, photovoltaics, almost the same notion, and in details they are about resonance. Resonance that can enhance absorption of solar energy. So let's start. Improving dielectric nano-resonator based anti-reflection coatings for photovoltaics. 개선하는 유전체 나노 공진 기반의 반사 방지 코팅 태양 전지를 위한 I think this would take me so long, so I'll just explain what it means. We demonstrate optical and electrical property enhancement of solar cells using a variety of dielectric nanoresonator array coatings. Abstract. This is abstract. And they are telling that they can enhance solar cells by using nanoresonator coating. First, we study close-packed silicon dioxide nanoresonator arrays on top of silicon and gallium arsenide solar cells. They are gonna put SiO2 nanoresonator arrays on top of silicon or gallium arsenide solar cells. From macro scale measurements and calculations, we find that absorptivity of solar cells can be improved by 20% due to the resonant coupling of excited whispering gallery modes and the thin film anti-reflection effect. From here, whispering gallery modes means resonance, and the thin film anti-reflection effect also causes resonance. So this is all about resonance. So, which means they found absorptivity of solar cells improvement by 20% due to the resonance. So resonance is the important thing. The key keyword here. Next, we image photocurrent enhancement at the nanoscale via near-field scanning, photocurrent microscopy. They're going to use microscopy because it's nanoscale. Strong local photocurrent enhancement is observed over each nanoresonator at wavelengths corresponding to whispering gallery mode excitation. They're saying photocurrent enhancement is observed at wavelengths of resonance. This means whispering gallery mode excitation. Whispering gallery mode means resonance, and excitement is caused by this resonance, and this kind of resonance and excitation has their own wavelengths. So some photocurrent enhancement is observed at some wavelengths of resonance. Finally, for better optical coupling to solar cells, we explore Finally, for better optical coupling to solar cells, we explore hybrid nanoresonator arrays combining multiple materials such as silicon dioxide, silicon nitride, and titanium dioxide. They're saying to get more enhancement, they need some good couplings. So they explored combinations of nanoresonators, which is silicon dioxide, silicon nitride, and titanium dioxide. They tried all things mixed up to get a better enhancement. Due to higher number of photonic modes within such hybrid coatings, absorptivity is enhanced by more than 30% in SI solar cell. Because of these many combinations of coatings, absorptivity of SI solar cells has been enhanced by over 30%. So you see the keywords here: anti-reflection coatings, nanosphere, nanoresonators, whispering gallery modes, which means resonance, absorptivity enhancements, photocurrency enhancements, which are caused by resonance, near-field scanning optical microscopy, near-field scanning photocurrent microscopy. These are needed to measure things in nanoscale. So introduction. Innovative nanoscale light management schemes have been introduced in order to make cost-effective photovoltaics. All these all these endeavors that I explained in abstract is to make cost-effective photovoltaics. That's the goal. Among various approaches, light management using arrays of dielectric nanoresonators has been considered a promising route to significantly increase light absorption and power conversion efficiency of solar cells due to several positive aspects. There were many approaches, but light management by dielectric nanoresonators was the best, and it increased light absorption and power conversion efficiency of solar cells. You know that solar cells don't absorb all the light from sun. They reflect a lot amount, and not all of absorbed light turns into electricity. The efficiency is about 20%, so only 20% of light absorbed can be turned into electricity. So they are saying this dielectric nanoresonator enhances light absorption and power conversion. This method does not require direct surface patterning of active materials, and therefore the open circuit voltage remains intact. I don't exactly understood this sentence, but I think to enhance light absorption, a surface patterning is needed, but it causes changes in voltage, so that's not good. But this method, which is dielectric nanoresonators, does not change the voltage, open circuit voltage. It remains intact. Furthermore, this method is relatively cheap, which is a good thing. However, there are some other factors that still need to be addressed to apply such light management technique to commercial PVs. I think they have some kind of limitation. So let's read. First, as only micro-scale characterizations have been made so far, clear demonstration of nanoscale optical coupling and photocarrier collection is still lacking. I think this method is only dealt with macro and micro scale, so nanoscale aspects haven't been demonstrated fully. Second, the best performance of such anti-reflection coating lags that of conventional thick film anti-reflection technology. They're saying that anti-reflection coating using dielectric nanoresonators isn't enough compared to conventional anti-reflection technology. So it has a long way to go. Third, research has been conducted in application to a few specific materials, and the versatility of this approach remains unclear. The research has been carried out only with few materials, so their use or their usefulness is not clear. So this first, second, third explanation means more study needed. To address the aforementioned issues, we demonstrate the nanoscale optical coupling and photocurrent enhancement with dielectric nanoresonators atop various solar cell materials. To show this method, they are telling you about nanoscale optical coupling and photocurrent enhancement with solar cells and the nanoresonator on top of it. So the keyword is nanoresonator, which is top of the solar cell materials, which is silicon or gallium arsenide. To examine nanoscale optoelectronic responses, we employ a near-field scanning photocurrent microscopy technique. They are using microscopy technique to examine nanoscale optoelectronic responses because it's too small. By utilizing an atomic force microscopy probe with an attached optical fiber, we measure local photoresponse of solar cells. Also, atomic force microscopy is used to measure photoresponse of solar cells, which is, I think, hard to measure, so they need this kind of these kind of instruments. While the probe makes a raster scanning, raster means it's like bitmap. It's not like vector. It is composed of pixels, pixel scanning, if you scan all of it, it makes a map or something. While the probe makes a raster scanning, topography and photocurrent of samples are obtained at the same time. They are using such scanning to get topography and photocurrent. Correlating with other characterization techniques, we find that the combination of a thin film interference effect and resonant coupling of whispering gallery modes improves solar cells by more than 20%. This is the important part. They are saying that such combination, they found it with such characterization techniques like microscopy. They found that combinations of this effect and this mode improves solar cells by 20%, and this effect and this modes means resonant thin film interference effect and or resonant coupling of whispering gallery modes means or causes resonance, and it causes more absorptivity so it improves solar cells by 20%. We also suggest novel hybrid nanoresonator arrays composed of various materials. For example, silicon dioxide, silicon nitride, and titanium dioxide that can surpass the conventional thin film-based anti-reflection technologies. They are also suggesting some hybrid nanoresonator arrays with these materials, SiO2, Si3 and 4, TiO2, and which can surpass conventional anti-reflection technologies. Results and discussion. We deposit close-packed 700 nanometer SiO2 silicon dioxide nanoresonators as anti-reflection coatings atop silicon and gallium arsenide solar cells to improve their optical and electrical properties. Okay, it is what it is written. They're just telling the process. If there is silicon or gallium arsenide solar cells, they are placed on 700 nanometer silicon dioxide nanoresonator anti-reflection coatings on top of them to improve their optical and electrical properties. Nanoresonators are deposited by a Mayer Road rolling technique, which I don't know, by adjusting either a concentration of suspension coating SiO2 nanoresonators or the size of a Mayer Road a monolayer coating can be made. These are just some techniques, I think. Adjusting concentration or the size, monolayer coating can be made. Deposited nanoresonators have a finite variation of diameter 697 nanometer plus minus 80. Just details. We measure light absorptivity enhancement with such nanoresonators. See figure 1A and D. 1A and D. We'll see the figures later. Absorptivity enhancement is determined by comparing light absorption with nanoresonators with light absorption of bare samples. They compared light absorption with solar cells that have nanoresonators and solar cells that have no nanoresonators. They are just bare samples. We also determine absorptivity enhancement from finite difference time domain calculations. I think this is some kind of method, but I don't know. It is called FDTD calculations. Enhanced light absorption is observed with 700 nanometer SiO2 nanoresonators in macroscopic measurements and FDTD calculations. They're saying that light absorption enhancement is observed. There is an enhancement. While mostly broadband features are visible in the measurements, both broadband and narrowband features are clearly shown in the calculations. Broadband features are shown in the measurements, but broadband and nanoband both are shown in the calculations. The broadband features can be explained by the thin film interference effect. We model a thin film layer atop Si and a silicon and gallium arsenic substrate and determine how this layer affects optical responses. They placed a thin film layer on top of silicon or gallium arsenide solar cells and experienced how they affected optical responses. The thin film layer has an effective refractive index varying in vertical position to mimic the properties of the close-packed silicon dioxide nanoresonators. Here, see, they are saying thin film layer has effect similar to nanoresonators, and this is all about resonance. And this resonance by thin film layer or nanoresonator, or whatever it is, it enhances solar cell's absorptivity or power conversion efficiency. The effective refractive index of the film is calculated by averaging refraction indices of air and silicon dioxide according to the geometric fraction of two materials in close-packed configuration. I think I have to read the sentence once more. The effective refractive index of the film is calculated by averaging refractive indices of air and SiO2 according to the geometric fraction of two materials in close-packed configuration. I think it's about this index, and it is calculated by averaging the indices of air and silicon dioxide because of the configuration. And I don't get it because I don't know what configuration is. So let's get over it, and let's pass this. The thin film model effectively describes broadband absorptivity enhancement observed in the experiments and calculation. The thin film model describes absorptivity enhancements. So if you see the figures now, there is experiment and calculation. There is one using nanoresonators, I think, and one with a thin film layer. And the last sentence is telling that this one with thin film model describes broadband absorptivity enhancement. And you see there is wavelength here with each nanometers, and there is incident angle. It's about the angle of the sunlight, and there is a silicon solar cell and a gallium arsenide solar cell. So it is what was it? Raster scanning. So this is raster scanning, I think, and you can see both silicon dioxide nano resonator and a thin layer, and you see there's a difference. And if you read it here, figure 1, absorptivity enhancements determined by macroscopic optical measurements for A, silicon solar cell, and D, gallium arsenide solar cell with deposited silicon dioxide nanoresonators with a mean diameter of 697 nanometer and a standard deviation of 80 nanometer. So this is an experiment of two solar cells, silicon solar cell, gallium arsenide solar cell, and on top of it they both have silicon dioxide nanoresonators, and to see absorptivity enhancements, microscopic optical measurements are needed. Absorptivity enhancements determined by FDTD calculations for B. A silicon solar cell with close-packed 700 nanometer silicon dioxide nanoresonators. C. A silicon solar cell with a 700 nanometer thick thin film layer. E. A gallium arsenide solar cell with close-packed 700 nanometer silicon dioxide nanoresonators. And D. A gallium arsenide solar cell with a 700 nanometer thick thin film layer. So these are by calculations, FDTD calculations. Narrowband features can be explained by excited whispering gallery modes within nanoresonators. You see that a broadband enhancement was observed in thin film model, but nano features can be explained by nanoresonators. Can be explained by resonance. To be exact, we calculate the electric field intensity profiles at wavelengths where significant absorptivity enhancement is observed. See figure 2. We'll see that tomorrow. This means they calculated wavelengths where the absorptivity enhancement was observed, and I guess there is some particular there's some special wavelengths that have absorptivity enhancements because of the resonance. The resonance make some wavelengths or resonance at some wavelengths make things stronger. And it's shown right there. But we'll see that tomorrow. Electric field profiles at wavelength of 635 nanometer and 798 nanometers, marked with number 3 and 4, under transverse magnetically incident polarization shown strong confined optical modes within nanoresonators. 3 and 4 marked number 3 and 4 It's right there. Wavelength 635 and 798. They showed strong confined optical modes, which means a strong resonance. I told you they had some special wavelengths. And there it is, 635 and 798, which shows strong resonance. They are the excited whispering gallery modes responsible for the narrow band absorptivity enhancement at the corresponding wavelengths. They are on resonance, which I translated resonance because of the corresponding wavelength. At this specific wavelengths, the resonance is strong, and the absorptivity enhancement exists in these specific wavelengths. 635, 798 nanometers. However, such enhancement is barely seen in the microscopic measurements due to the size variation of the nanoresonators. No enhancement is observed because of the size variation of the nanoresonators. I don't get it. I think the size variation of the nanoresonators are so small, like we're talking about nanoscale. So macroscopic measurements cannot measure it. So there are no enhancement observed. Repeated readings under identical conditions yields maximum measurement variation less than 1%. The nanoscale is so small that repeated readings under identical conditions, like this much, it's moving this much. We have to measure in big variations, so we can measure some meaningful things. But in we're talking about nanoscale, so this is identical conditions, and this yields variation less than 1%, which means it has no meanings in macro scale. So this was our first time studying the second thesis. It was also a paper about photovoltaics, solar cells, and resonance. And I think our English skills and knowledge of solar cell is improving very fastly. I hope you are too. I know only like 2 or 3 people watch my videos, but I thank you really, and I will try to give you good contents and a good sleep. So please keep watching my videos. And you can feel some enhancements with me. Okay, so this is end of our study today. And please have a good night. Thank you for watching.